Cooper said he is weighing the idea of changing the postseason to seed the teams 1 through 16 regardless of conference. LeBron was asked about that yesterday, and he was not a fan. Let's take a listen.
It just changes the landscape of the history of the game. If you start messing with seedings of playoffs, then you start talking about, well, if this team would have played this Western Conference team, what he would have, so it's cool to mess around with an all-star game. We prove that you could do that, but let's not get too crazy about the playoffs. When you have Eastern Conference, you have Western Conference, and you have Eastern Conference champions. You have guys that win the championship from the Eastern Conference who wins the big dance, and then sometimes you have it from the West as well. I've been a part of the Eastern Conference my whole career, and we've been very, very competitive. There's been years where we weren't as good, but if I could think from once I got into the league, it's been us. I've done it 3 times. Detroit, Boston, Miami, did in 06. So it's like 7 championships out of 14 years. It's half, right? So what are we talking about?
We're joined once again by Eddie House. Eddie, do you agree with LeBron?
Yeah, I agree with him. It sounds good in theory. It's like I went snowboarding a few weeks back. It sounded good when I was...
You went snowboarding?
Yeah, it sounded good when I was...
You're from Phoenix.
I know, but you could go to Flagstaff, so we drove to Flagstaff. So it sounded good, right? Driving up there, we're about to have fun. I spent more time on the ground, almost broke my ankle. So in theory, it sounded good until I went out there and actually got whooped by that mountain. So it's the same thing, you know what I mean? It sounds good, but you got to stay with what it is. Everybody loves to see the East versus the West, that coming down to the finals is the best of the East and the best of the West. Yeah. It's like the travel would be crazy. What if you have a team, the Lakers play New York in the first round? What about that travel? That's just a lot of miles they got to rack up.
In Miami.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. If it's not broke, I don't think you should. It shouldn't be fixed. And like we played in the Western Conference Finals, we were picked to finish last, but we finished first. And it's always been like this in the league. In Phoenix. And it's always been like this to where one conference is better than the other. There's never been parity throughout the NBA since 2006, and that's what I was referencing to. The West has been the best conference in the NBA. The East, when has the East really been competing? I mean, can you tell me the last time the East was the dominant conference in the NBA? It's been like this forever, and that's what everybody is getting tired of seeing. Cleveland and Golden State, they want to mix it up, but just leave it alone.
Leave it alone. What I have a hard time with is that when LeBron is doing it, it's a cakewalk. If he doesn't make it, he chokes. Now, let's go back to the Bulls. The Bulls won 6 championships. Do you know in the first round, they swept every single round? In the first round matchup, they swept it. In the second round, they lost a total of 7 games. In 1 year, they lost 3 to the Knicks.
Just the Bulls?
I'm just saying this, Michael. And they went to and 1 game 7, Skip. In the Eastern Conference Finals against the Indiana Pacers. Now, LeBron...
It was a hellacious... I was there, man.
Now, LeBron...
It was a mountain to climb.
Now, LeBron... has Eastern Conference Finals, Game 7 against against Boston and Indiana.
He did? That was a shame it went to 7 against Indiana. It's George Paul's team.
But it's Skip, it's always been, if you go back to the 60s, it was the Celtics. You go back to the 70s, 70s, you had a little, the Knicks snuck in there a couple of times, but it's been the Celtics and the Lakers. Then you go to the 80s. Who was it, Skip? Magic Johnson went to the finals, NBA Finals. 9 times in 12 years. Ain't nobody say nothing. From 80 to 87, 2 teams represented the West. The Rockets and the Lakers. In the East, it was the Sixers and the Celtics. Now, all of a sudden, LeBron going to all these finals in a row. We got to put up some stumbling blocks. But don't worry about it, Skip. Don't worry about it. That old guy from Akron, he jump over them stumbling blocks. Do what you need to do. Try to make it as difficult as you possibly can. But sometimes you can make your destiny on the very road you took to avoid.
I've heard that before.
So guess what? You try to take down LeBron, put him against the Warriors if you want to, and then now they don't be in the finals. How that going to look on your ratings?
So I'm figuring that old Bron on Monday put in a little call to the commish and said...
We talked to him Sunday night. He was out on the court giving us that MVP trophy.
Yeah? You talked to him? You and Bron?
Skip, I wasn't even at the game. Yeah, I was.
Commish, he says, nope, nope, nope. You are not going to take my cakewalk away from me.
Stop it.
Because LeBron James, especially when this run started, going back to 2011, when he took his talents to South Beach and joined forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh and Pat Riley in Miami, it has been cakewalk after 8 straight cakewalks all the way to the NBA Finals. And each time, LeBron James also benefited from the fact that it was murderer's row in the West. Battle royals, back and forth, where whoever survived the Western Conference playoff path got beat up, got worn out mentally, and was not quite itself by the time it got to LeBron. So he's achieved 8 straight finals that I'm giving him this year. And if he stays in Cleveland, which we now suspect that he will, it'll probably be 10 straight finals. And that's what he's going to have to use as his claim to fame against the real GOAT, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, because that's all he's going to have is, I went to 10 straight finals. Now, his record is probably going to be 3-8 in the finals.
5-5 at
5-5 at worst. So you're predicting it. You're on record that this year's new look Cavaliers are going to beat the Golden State Warriors, right? You're on record.
We're going to cross.
Oh, we're going to cross that bridge. We're going to cross that bridge, even though it's on fire.
Can I ask you a question, Skip? The West is loaded. Can you tell me how many games the Warriors lost in the playoffs last year in that loaded Western Conference?
Yep. Well, can I show you what's happened in the West over the last 8 years?
They lost 0.
But look, you can't. It is what it is. The West and the East, we know that it's 2 different things. You're going to beat up on each other in the West, but it doesn't matter. You can't blame somebody for the path that they're taking. As long as you beat who's ever in front of you,
but let's just,
that's all you got to do.
I know, but you got to cut to the chase of why LeBron is saying, hold the phone here. I don't want reseed. I want cakewalk.
Well, look, so you want to see like a Houston Golden State Finals? Well, that could be a conference final. If they're good enough to get to the final in a field of 16,
Adam Silver trying to play matchmaker.
They should be good enough to get to the
like
conference
Tom
final,
Brady.
right?
Tom Brady had this cakewalk in the AFC. Oh, really? Put him in the NFC. Let him have to battle all those teams, the Eagles and the Vikings.
We're talking about reseeding in the NBA right now, and you have to change the subject because you're losing this argument
I'm not losing
again. So
you try to take down Bron, it ain't going to happen.
LeBron's path over the last 8 seasons, 7 really, but because we're giving him the 8th, but 7 years with 8 sweeps and only 2 7-game series, that's a cakewalk. Because I'm looking at lots of Phillies and Detroits and New York Knicks and Charlotte Bobcats.
Michael Jordan had 6 sweeps.
I would call that taking care of business.
Sweeps, excuse me. Michael Jordan had 6 sweeps.
Eddie House. Tougher conference over the last 8 years, East or West?
West. No
okay,
doubt.
so that's all I need.
Case closed. But what can you do if you in the East?
Eddie.
Okay.
What, you going to knock them for getting to the finals? Because it was easier for you to... It's hard to
You talking about the last 8 years. They've been playing basketball for 70 years.
Well, it's just been a long drought in the East. And LeBron James has benefited enormously from it. And to start benefiting, he had to take his talents to South Beach. That's when it all started.
But when they won 66 games and got beat by the Orlando Magic, nobody talked about no reseeding because everybody wanted to see Kobe and LeBron because they came out with a campaign, the Muppets. Remember they were talking, Kobe, man, Ron, you like my rings? Nobody had a problem with that when he got knocked off. Now, he putting foots on everybody in the East. Skip, baby. See, Skip don't want him to do it because it's going to happen.
I don't care. I'm just telling you the truth.
No,
this is what's happened.
What he doesn't want to happen, Eddie, he doesn't want Bron to be the all-time leading scorer, be top 5 in assists, having 5 rings with 10 straight finals, because guess where he going to be on Mount Rushmore, Joe?
Oh, stop.
To the right.
What did you say yesterday? Silly?
Yeah,
like just
stop
the silliness?
Stop
Eddie,
So, meanwhile, over the last 7 years in the Western Conference, look at the murderer's row that we've had. The Warriors have risen. The Thunder had, obviously, Durant and, at one point, James Harden. The Spurs have been Spurs all the way through. There's been the end of Kobe's Lakers. There's been the Rockets' rise. There's been the Mavericks winning it all in 2011. 2 Grizzlies teams have won 55-plus games, and 2 Trailblazers teams have won 50-plus games. That's murderer's row. You don't have that in the East. You've got the Indiana Pacers of George Paul. I mean, they're not that good. They're no threat.
Oh, so you actually think Portland was a threat to the Warriors?
No, but they're better than Indiana was.
But you can't knock whoever's in front of you beat them. You can't knock that.
Okay, I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying
But
this
he's
is the
got a
thing.
But if
Yeah,
I'm
that
not-
is the thing. We know that's the thing, but you cannot knock somebody for taking care of their business.
That's it.
But the
Period.
point is, LeBron is saying, don't recede because you're going to take my path away.
No, that's not what
He
he's
doesn't
saying.
want-
He's saying the history of the game. He understands the All-Star
I mean, I
game.
know
You
he's
could
saying
tweak
the
that.
history of the game. That
But no,
sounds
that's the
good, but
truth,
I know
though.
what he's thinking.
That's the truth.
He's thinking, don't take my cakewalk from me.
No,
It's
so-
a cakewalk.
So it wasn't a cakewalk.
That's all he's going to have. His claim to fame, when it's all over, he's going to say, I went to 10 straight NBA finals.
But let me
Am
ask
I
you,
right?
But when he loses, why is it that when he wins, it's a cakewalk? He loses, he chokes.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. You said against. Oh, he had the all-time meltdown.
Well, he did.
Oh, see, there you go. There you can see.
Well, was it not the all-time
And when he
superstar
lo-
meltdown we've ever
and
seen?
Dan Gilbert said he quit.
He did. Yeah. But that was back in the Cleveland days. I haven't even brought those up.
No.
Huh?
Put some
I'm not saying those were cakewalk days.
stepping on folks.
Yeah. Well, okay, you can step all you want.
Yeah.
But you know what?
I don't like it.
Later in
I
the
don't
show, when the Eagles have won the Super Bowl with Carson
10
Wentz.
in a
We'll
row.
discuss that with Mark
You know what
Schlereth
you did?
next.
You gave us